Hello everybody, Stev here and welcome to the DaVinci Resolve Starter Tutorial. This tutorial is designed to be very quick, very simple, very easy, just to give you a quick overview of DaVinci Resolve. It's a huge program and we go into it in the next tutorial quite in depth, but just to show you how easy things are to get started, let's hop right in. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is download and install DaVinci. Now, if you haven't done that, head on over to follow the download link and download that now. If you're on a Windows system, you may be prompted for some drivers and a wizard will come up, so just step through that and install the drivers, then open DaVinci Resolve. You should initially be immediately confronted with the opening project manager screen, and you'll see untitled project. Now you can organize this screen in a couple of ways. You can have it as a list items or you can have it as icons. So to begin with, click the untitled project and DaVinci will open up. Now we get a screen that looks similar to this, and DaVinci has four key areas that you will be working with. The media pool, which is where we can drop our media items in, the editing area, which is where we create our film, the color area, which we won't be doing anything on in this tutorial. However, it does play a key part because this is where we do a lot of our green screen work and some of the more complex color correction features. DaVinci is used by every Hollywood studio, so it's particularly for its color. Now, we finally have the delivery system. So you click on that and you can choose to customize YouTube, Vimeo. When you click those, they'll all automatically be set up for the different platforms. So that's a nice quick way to do it. Alright, at this point, we'll go back to the media bin and I want you to open up the files that were included with this tutorial. So we should have our audio file, our BG Aqua and our logo. So what we're going to do, we can do a couple of things here. We can sort of drag them straight into the media pool like so. And while we're in this media pool, I'll just show you the two elements of the project manager, which is where we were just in, is the project settings. So these are good to set up. We probably should have done that first actually. You can set this to sort of 24, 30 frames a second, and just set this up however you need to for your project, or just go with the default. So we'll save that. So with the audio, this is really cool. You can just click on items in the media bin and you'll see the audio file there. Now we'll head into the editor area, and immediately if we wanted to get back and see what's in our media pool, we can just click the media pool button up there. And we also have the effects area, which is really handy because here's where we can put transitions and everything onto into the film. We can also add text here too, which we'll be doing really quickly. Okay, so with our media, we might also grab the background and you can drag this straight on to the timeline, and you'll see that that appears there. So we can drop media in from the media pool, or we can drop it straight onto the timeline, which is really handy. So then we just move the play head back to the top and just play it through. It's maybe a little slower as I'm recording the screen, However, this is a loopable background which looks really nice, and as you'll see, we just get to the end and it stops. So what we can do here is if we select the clip, you'll see it comes up in the inspector. And if you've not seen the inspector, that's the inspector button, and this is where we can really play around with the actual clip itself. And these buttons on the side are quite important too, because these allow you to keyframe. And what keyframing is, let's say I click this particular, let's move the playhead back to the top, and I click the position. Right, that has just recorded that the position is 0. Right, all the settings here are 0. Now if we click this particular item here, the icon, this is the transform icon, that's got the background highlighted, and let's say if we just want to move that across, if you want to change your screen resolutions here, you can do that quite easily, just there. So now we can see that the background is over there, and if we just move the playhead down a little bit, and then we move this back into the middle, that looks about right, I think. Just go up here and fit that in, get that right. You'll notice that the keyframe became red, and it's now recorded this particular aspect. In actual fact, because we knew that it was 0, what we could do here is just go 0, enter, 0, enter, and that will actually perfectly line that up. So what happens now is, as we take that off, there we get our background moving in. So that is using keyframes. Now you can use keyframes with everything, and that's the only thing I want to show you in this on keyframes at the moment, because we get right into them in the next tutorial. At any rate, let's say we'll copy that. So I can either, actually, we won't copy that, we'll just drag another version. We can just sort of move that there. And here we can zoom in on the workspace and the timeline. And if we just play that, that will seamlessly loop. So this is how we can now add one continuous background through the movie. So if I just copy that, I just went Control C, and now I go Control V, and paste it, As you can see, we've now got a movie that is about 55 seconds long. So that is really quite handy there. So if we go into the effects library, let's add some text to it. So again, we simply drop the text on, and when we click that up in the inspector, this is where we edit the text. So again, click the transform, we can just move that around the place. With the text, you've also got the video aspects, and if you notice the position here, which is where I was just changing, you can see that come up there. So that's how easy it is to add text. If we want to add some more text, let's add some scrolling text. And I just pushed up and I've put that over the top. So let's select the scrolling text. You need to put the playhead over the clip that you're working with. Okay, and in this particular case, just position this so it goes up into the title. Now, you can just quickly make that, center that, and go whatever your point is, T2, T3, T4, and now when we go and play through, just let it think about this for a second. and that may not have come out as clearly as it could have because of the screen recording. However, that will render really nicely. So that is the tall and short of really getting things done in DaVinci. We might just quickly put some, okay, let's put a logo in there, and let's also drop some audio in there. So the audio you'll see down here, and we can just bring the workspace down a little bit. Send the audio to the front. Now if you don't want to listen to the audio, you can just mute the particular tracks. Same with the video tracks, you can just turn them on and off. And with the audio, you can see we can just kind of move the clips. You see this kind of doesn't start till there, and if we wanted that to start immediately, just move that up and then shunt the whole clip back. So we'll just turn this on for a tick, and what do we get? And that actually would have gone all the way through. Okay, so what we'll do here is I'll just show you quickly some of the effects. Now I use the cross dissolve quite often, which is why I've starred that. And let's say cross dissolve, you just drag these effects straight onto the clip. Okay, I'll turn this off now. And as you can see, there's the, yeah, that comes in quite nicely. Just put in there, and let's say we wanted to slowly increase the size here. I said I wasn't going to show you any more keyframing, however, this is really simple to do too. So if we just click that there, the zoom, and then we move the playhead down, and we just drag this to there, that's gone red, and when we play that through, can't quite tell from this, but that will just appear nicely and fade out. Alright, finally, let's say we've finished our movie and we're going to render it. Just before I do that, I might quickly here, I'll just cut this off at this point. So there's your splice tool. I get more into all of these in the next tutorial. So I'll just move that across there. Okay, the inspector, go back to deliver, and as I mentioned before, we can set this up for custom. If you're exporting to YouTube, click the YouTube icon and you can choose how to render this out. What we do here is we just call it, give it a name, so I'll just call this test for the time being, and just browse the location. So yeah, find your location and put it into there. Now what we do is we add to the render queue, and basically you can see that appearing here. Then we click start render and watch this render itself out. Okay, that is the fairly quick basic ways to get around DaVinci Resolve. But as you'll find out coming up, it is a big program with a lot of capacity, and we jump right in. So for the next tutorial, have the pause button ready and just go over anything that, if you didn't quite pick it up the first time, some things may need a couple of looks at. However, it's fairly laid back in the delivery, and if you follow the examples in there, you'll come out with a great looking video very quickly. Okay, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.
I'm going to teach you right now something that, well, I think a lot of folks have tried to explain, but probably none as simply as you're about to see right now, as I do not only remove green screen in DaVinci Resolve 12.5, I'll give you a little rundown of that software too, but I also show you how to do it with spokespeople in mind. So whether it's for VideoPal use or just general use, if you don't have VideoPal, well, guess what? Right now I'm going to give you a nice little rundown on how to do green screen in DaVinci Resolve. The rest of the training you could find below. Watch. Okay, so obviously the first thing you want to do is actually download it. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm going to dwell on the green screen use. But if you put DaVinci Resolve in Google, or you just use the link underneath this video, you'll be taken right to the right place, which is Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve 12.5. You can see it right here, and you can actually download it right away. You could actually download a version from Mac or PC, and then there's more information underneath. So with that said, let's get right down to it. I'm in DaVinci Resolve here right now. This is it on the upper right. When I first loaded it, it did ask me if I wanted to have the look and feel of Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve previously. I chose, in this case, Adobe Premiere because I think that will follow closest with the video training that we have underneath this video. Actually, what I do now, or I already started to do, is I loaded a background for a video. Okay, my video is right here. It's actually the one that you're watching today, right here, and I'm going to show you how I split it. So there it is. I put it right in there, and now we're going to work on that in just a moment. Now, while I have your attention on me bringing stuff in, I want to show you what I've done here. There's 4 tabs at the bottom: Media, Edit, Color, and Deliver. I'm not going to dwell on this now, but it's pretty obvious. The media is where you store your media. The edit is where you're going to perform editing on a timeline. The color is where we're going to be doing our green screen work. And delivering is going to be where we render and push the video out to the public or our hard drive. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is go to Edit. When I go to Edit, I have the timeline here on the bottom, and I have right here the various different pieces that I'm going to use. Now I want to drag in, obviously, my video. That's very important to do. And then if you look closely, you'll see that the video is in 2 parts. The video part, which is denoted as V1, and the audio part, which is denoted as A1. If I could show you on the upper right here, there's actually a little control. Do you see this right here? If I click on this, it's going to give me a choice for showing audio waveforms. Now, the reason why I'd want to do that is in case I wanted to split the video, or split the audio, I should say. And there's a reason for that. I mean, when you see your audio, you can figure out where to actually cut it, because it starts and stops. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring an image underneath. All right, and in order to do that, I would just go like this. So in this case, I would be against a house here. Now, in order to bring it underneath, what I really need to do is lift the video up. When we lift the video up, notice it's split from the audio because all the audio defaults to the bottom. But now that I've lifted the video up, I can now slide my image in place. I could stretch it out by just clicking on the edge and dragging it. And now basically I'm pretty much set. Now I'm pretty much set, but I do want to show you later the Kelly green and how that looks, and why you would do that for VideoPal. That is to make a bright green backdrop rather than this kind of dull green backdrop that's already behind me. So I'm going to put that here. So we'll actually have 2 backgrounds going. One will be the green and one will be a house, and we'll compare them. So we're all set up now to go to the Color tab where we'll do our chroma key work. Okay, we're inside DaVinci Resolve's color area, and we're particularly going to be doing green screen work, so we're going to need to set up what's called an alpha channel. Everything is very similar to other software such as Camtasia, but it's a little bit more hands-on, so it gets a little more complicated looking, even though it's not really that much more complicated. But let me show you the way to do it, the simplest way to do it. So the first thing that is suggested to do by all the videos that I've watched, curating all those videos and condensing them, is to create what's called a new node. And I'll explain what a node is in just a moment. You can't see it, but at the very top of my screen, I have in the menu, and you could kind of see it now, it says nodes, and then it says add serial node. You see that at the top here. I'm going to click on that, and what it does is it adds this right here. Now, what a node is basically a work area. So we're passing from the top video, which is right here. That's the video that we originally put on top. And it passes the output of color right here. It's passing through one work area into our latest work area. And then what we want to do is not only pass the color, but now we also want to pass an invisible channel, also known as an alpha channel. And that's what we're going to do. And the way to do that is to do a click. Anywhere in here is to click, right click, and then add alpha output, okay? The alpha output is denoted by this blue area right here, this little blue output, okay? So we have the color here, and then we have the transparency as it's called here, and the way to connect that to your work area is just by clicking on the triangle there and taking this line and attaching it there. So there's our output, okay? So this is our work area, the node, and it's going to be sending a transparency and the color channel both out. All right, so that's important. You'll see why in just a moment. That's the first step. So that differs from what we've seen in other pieces of software. The next step is to pick the eyedropper. The eyedropper is right here, and that's called the qualifier. But the very first step is to use your eyedropper, and we're set up in doing that right here. You see where the eyedropper is kind of pointing into what looks like a pool of water because there's concentric circles. That means that you're set up right now to just select any color. So we're going to go back up here and select a color to disappear. All right? So which color should we select? Well, let's select something in between the darkest green and the lightest green. Let's pick something right here. All right, I've clicked this. And immediately you notice there's something wrong. As we take a look at the workspace right here, you see that I've disappeared, not the background. And that's basically what happens during your first step. But that's easy to reverse. We go back down to the selection range here, and you can see this reversal tab. This tab is actually called invert, and we're going to click it. And now you can see it's starting to get better, but we still haven't gotten rid of the green here. We can still see right here in our workspace that we haven't gotten rid of it there either. Now, when we get rid of it here, it's going to show a background. When we get rid of it here, it's just going to show the transparency. It will just be blank. It'll shine through to this gray nothingness, all right? Well, this will become more clear in just a moment when I do the following step. The next step is what I like the best, and that's clicking this right here. That eyedropper lets you choose more colors. So you see the eyedropper and a plus. Think more. The plus means more. So I'm going to click that. Now I'm going to choose more colors to disappear. So I click this. 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 And you're saying, wait a minute, Todd. Why aren't we seeing the background? Actually, we are seeing the background. Remember? This is what I showed at this part of the video. One of the reasons why I loaded this house as one of my backgrounds is because I wanted to show you so that you don't get confused that the house is there. All right? You see, there's the house, there's the garage, but I haven't gotten rid of all the green in front of it. I could still try to click that green with the eyedropper, but I haven't gotten rid of every single speck. Well, how do I do that? How do I get rid of the rest of that green, those specks that are left? How do I make it that right around me, right here, is going to turn all beige gray and not be green anymore? Because both of those things are what you're striving for. All right, well, the way is to go now to this. Remember in Camtasia when I said you can actually control the tolerance and almost ignore everything else? And that's the most important thing, to move left and right. You see that right here, okay, on the right-hand side of Camtasia. Well, that's basically what we're doing as well as we take a look at this software when it comes to the hue and the controls. Because what we're going to do is pick more colors than just the narrow color that we've so far focused in on. And the way to first do that is to click over where it says soft and then make that bigger by scrolling to the right. See how I'm scrolling left to right and making that bigger? Now, while I was doing that, the green was disappearing. And if that doesn't do it, then you go to width right here, and you scroll to the right, and it widens the group of colors that gets removed. You could see that early in the image here, I put myself in front of that bright Kelly green. The reason I did that is because I wanted to remind you that bright Kelly green is what is removable. If you do use VideoPal, then it's important to have spokesman in front of that bright Kelly green color for automatic removal in VideoPal if you're having trouble with your videos. So I wanted to show you how to do that again. But for general use, you'd put yourself usually in front of a background like this: a house, a car, a lake, a mountain, a river, an ocean, a cityscape, but not green normally. Okay, so this would be for normal use, putting another kind of background behind. So basically that's it. That's the most important tweaks for just general green screen use before you get to that point of being an expert. What I showed you should be sufficient for starters, and we have much more training on it inside our DaVinci product, which is the low-cost training, the second link below this video. On this, Steve Forster takes a crack at showing you as well. I just wanted to get it out there because obviously this light green color is something that he's not going to address for VideoPal use. Okay, the last thing, which I'm not going to dwell on, but I want to show you, is the fourth tab here, which is the delivery tab. You'd click this, and then to deliver your video, you'd actually at this point use this tab and then start deciding where to put it. For instance, you could do custom, which is going to put it on your hard drive, YouTube, Vimeo, Final Cut Pro 7, and Premiere XML output. That's all what you can do just by clicking these right here. So that's something that you'll want to learn more about inside those tutorials below.